Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Against Medical Advice Podcast. I'm your host, Jimi Diamond, and today we are going to be talking about character defects. What the heck is a character defect? How do they come about? How do we get rid of them? I'm going to answer all these questions today, so stay tuned and let's get into it. First things first, let's just understand what is a character defect. So let's define what a character defect is. I got all my notes here, but they were covered. I spilled my water before I got started and got water all over my notes, so hopefully I can read them. But let's just get started by defining what is a character defect. Someone's character is the mental or moral qualities distinctive to the individual. So your character is not actually your shirt, what you wear, what school you went to, or whatever the case may be. Your character is actually what you think and what you believe is right and wrong. So how we perceive things, our mental capacity to handle things, and actually what we believe is right and wrong. Now there's good qualities and there's bad quality. You can go to Walmart and get a shit quality blanket, or you can go to like some Louis Vuitton place and get a super dope comforter. You know what I mean? There's good quality and there's bad quality. Good quality cars, bad quality cars, so on and so forth. There's also good quality thinking and bad quality thinking. There's good quality decision making and bad quality decision making. The higher quality of thinking and decisions that you have, the better the character, and the lower quality of thinking and decisions, right and wrong decisions you make, the worse your character can become. Often, people get their character messed up, but I want to explain the character importance and pattern by understanding characters in like plays and movies. Just think about the Ernest movies real quick, right? Ernest is always Ernest. He's always doing the same Ernest stuff every single day. He's always getting into his morals are right. He really is trying to do the right thing, but he's always making bad decisions because he's mentally low quality, right? Ernest is always the same character. There's Ernest Scared Stupid. There's Ernest Goes to Jail. Ernest Goes to Camp. Ernest Goes to School. Same Ernest, different scenario. And this is the pattern that people see with their character. So let's use me for example. I'm the same person. Jimmy goes to school. Jimmy does this. Jimmy does that. It's always the same Jimmy. It's always the same me until I change something in what I believe is right and wrong, or I increase my mental capacity to do things like knowledge or whatever. I'm always going to make the same decisions. And today we're going to talk about how does that result come about, and are there good things and bad things, right? So there are good qualities to a person's character, and those good qualities to a person's character are called assets. So these are good people, objects, concepts maybe that people have in their lives, and they're good qualities about them. Now when we use these good qualities in a negative manner, that's where they become character defects. So one of my assets is I'm funny, and I can also use my asset of being funny in a negative, selfish way, and that's where it becomes a defect. So it starts off good, everybody loves Jimmy, he's a funny guy, but I make a joke at the wrong time, wrong place, and it doesn't meet the standards of some certain environment or place, and then it is a problem for me. Now my character, my powerlessness, my thinking, and my decision making becomes a problem for me. Not telling anybody that we're gonna get rid of these things forever. I'm a funny guy. I don't want to remove my humor forever, and I'm obviously not asking anybody to remove these things forever, but instead of trying to brainstorm ways to keep it in our life, let's try to brainstorm ways that we can have other tools instead of relying on that specific thing, right? So, for instance, I would rather be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war. Also, in this scenario, I would rather be a guy who has the ability to get angry and lose his shit than a guy who always gets angry and loses his shit. Okay, that's like understanding the character. So us as individuals, that is what makes us. It's the compound of what we think is right and wrong and actually committing to it, okay? So that compound over a period of time creates this person that we have, okay? So I believed that it was right to go to college. So because I every day woke up and believed that it was right to go to college, eventually I got my college degree and graduated, and now that is my character. That experience that I had is a part of my character. What are the defects of that character? Okay, the defects of that character are known as the shortcomings, lacks, or imperfections. So defect is defined as shortcomings, lacks, or imperfections. Let's just start off by saying maybe your character is already good, okay? There's, like, for instance, a high quality car right off the lot. Brand new car, already good, you can make it better. That's the idea of imperfections and defects around our character. You know, not saying that you're a bad person or your character has flaws in any way, shape, or form, but maybe there's areas of your life in which you could be better, and no one is ever perfect, so there's always room to grow. And if somebody is not accepting that about themselves or obsessing about those imperfections, we can get problems. Then there's also lacks, okay? Some people, they don't even have the mental capacity, and that's your problem. If you don't have the knowledge or the understanding of some part of the world or your emotions, that's your problem. If you don't understand, if you don't even fucking have it, you need to get it, dude. And if you don't know where to get it, you got to start asking people, and your failure to ask people is your problem. That is part of the problem. Like, you not asking people what's your problem, what don't I have, is a part of the problem. If anybody wants to work like a 12-step program, this is 6-step. So if you don't have this knowledge, you're never gonna get to the next part. And if you're not asking the questions about your shortcomings and these lacks, then you're never gonna get the answer. Some people ask, get the answer, and go right back to first step, and they're in denial, right? And character defects is a whole new layer of powerlessness. It's a whole new layer of denial, right? So you got people who can't not act like an asshole. They can't not, make a joke. They can't not act on this characteristic that they have, and it's not their fault. Maybe they just don't know that I couldn't make that joke. Maybe they just don't know that I can't do that. Maybe they just lack the knowledge or the mental capacity to handle all of that. And actually, they may also lack knowing or even having right and wrong. They may not even have the opportunity to determine what's right and wrong, and that's their problem. The fact that you lack that is your problem, nobody else's. So if you want to get out of that problem, you got to start admitting you got the problem and moving forward. So if you haven't worked the steps 1, 2, and 3 before getting to this, then you're not going to understand it. If you can't even understand your addiction, and how you're powerless over that, then a lot of people have a difficult time understanding how do people think that I'm a piece of shit. Because I'm not a piece of shit. And you see addicts get to this point in their recovery, they're like, man, I'm sober, and people still treat me like I'm a piece of shit. It's because you're still doing piece of shit stuff. You still talk, behave, and have this failure to meet the standards in society. You still think this way. You still behave this way, or whatever the case may be. Now, okay, so we have covered imperfections. We're still on defects. We talked about characters, now we're on defects. Imperfections, lacks, so it's either a part of you that you could be better, something that you don't have, or shortcomings. So shortcomings are fault or failures to meet certain standards within somebody's character. All right, it's in their character, their system, or their plan. So some people, like right here, their character, you just don't have this quality about you. You don't have this quality about you, and you need this quality about you, right? So you may see people who they're powerless over being outgoing. Their character defect, you're not outgoing. You don't have the ability to be outgoing, and the fact that your character doesn't have that in certain like business meetings, when you go out with friends or whatever the case may be, if you don't have that standard, if your character fails to meet that, then that may cause problems. Okay, and there might be something wrong with your thinking or what you believe is right and wrong. You may not think that it's okay to make those jokes, so you look around at these people like, oh, what the heck? Or they look around at you like that. So, and this is what you see with addicts. Like, addicts are constantly at fault or failure to meet certain standards in their character. Like, dude, how many addicts, if you're an addict out there listening to this right now, how many times have you heard somebody look at you and be like, what the fuck is wrong with you? What were you thinking? What the heck? Why would you do that? You know what I mean? It's like they're challenging your character. They can't even comprehend that someone's brain works like that. How do you think like that? They're like, your thinking, your mental quality is it's shocking, right? Or your decision making. How did you think that was right? What made you think that drinking and driving was a good decision, right? Something like that. So people actually challenge us with this. And if we're not volunteering ourselves to see these parts of our character, the rest of the world is going to point it out. And if we refuse to accept that that's the truth, we are now in denial about our actual characteristics that somebody else sees. And if we don't fix that, then we're going to continue to go around causing harm to society and never actually changing or making the full amends. Okay, so that's character. So fault or failure to meet certain standards in someone's character, right? So I need you to give a fuck. I need you to care. I need you to know right and wrong in this situation. Then somebody's character defect can also be in, the shortcoming can be in their system. So when I think system, I think about mechanistically something working, right? So somebody could have the character defect because maybe you're missing a leg. Maybe your addiction caused you to miss a leg. People's addiction causes their breathing to get messed up. It causes their chemical imbalance. Their system on how their brain functions, how their body functions completely gets distorted as a result of their addiction. So their system. And that's a defect of your character. Like, if you're obese, right? Like, that's a fucking problem. And if that, like, your system is messed up. And that's as a result of our addiction to food or too little food, right? That could also be you can't exercise, you can't do this, right? And that can just get in the way of the standard. So hey, we're really good friends, but because you're a character who is obese, I can't invite you to go do these things, right? So because you're an addict and you have this characteristic of being a drug addict, your system is totally wired towards addiction, mentally and physically. I can't invite you places. I can't invite you over. I can't do that because you have this characteristic about you, and addicts know this. We all know this, which is part of the reason that we don't tell people we're an addict. Why would I tell someone we're an addict? Because if I tell you I'm an addict, you're going to switch up and you're going to be this way or that way. So it's easier for me to just like hide it. And that's not good either. That's going to cause, because the character comes out. It's going to come out anyways. So, that is the summary, just on definition-wise on what is a character defect, okay? So again, just a summary. Our character is the mental and moral qualities distinctive to the individual. So I wore this shirt because I thought this shirt was fine. I thought it was okay to wear this. I thought it was okay. It was right. Some people, like Lex Friedman, may think it's wrong to wear this. He wears a fucking suit every goddamn podcast that he does, which is awesome. That's great. Whatever he does for his podcast is awesome. But this is my podcast, and this is what I think is right and wrong. Again, I'm not a fucking doctor or anything like that, so don't take my advice. Don't go fucking telling your friends about this, but subscribe, like my video. Tell me, what are some character defects that you have? What are some character defects that you see other people have? And I mean, when you think about it, now let's get into the impact that character defects have on someone. So just use anger, for instance, okay? An angry person. Think of the characteristics that someone has that would make someone an angry person. So this does not necessarily define an angry person, but they may shrug. I'm sitting here like this, but that doesn't mean I'm angry. Eyebrow shrug, face like this. This could be someone who just angry all the time. They may just sit there like this. They're just constantly they have been in a state of anger and reacted to things for so long that their resting face is just anger, dude. And that's your problem. If you just have resting angry face, that's your problem. The person who shoots the guy in road rage, there's probably a time that he looked back on his life and said, I get angry sometimes. Maybe I should fix that. You know what I mean? I think the same person who has a character defect of being an addict at one point said, you know what, I should probably do something about my addiction. And now, because of the decisions that we were powerless over making in active addiction, because we did those, now we have this character that we have to change and learn how to change. Like, what's wrong with my thinking? Why is that wrong? Oh, okay, that makes sense. So now the character that we have is a compound of decision making. Okay, so there is no addict person, right? The addict arrives from constantly making wrong decisions around drugs and alcohol, the overconsumption, how much and how often, because they are constantly making the choice of how much and how often, too much, too often, right? That one messes up their brain, and then it messes up the actual decision making, because maybe they don't get caught, so they constantly start to do this and yada, yada, yada. Why is it important to talk about character? Okay, because your character is actually, your character and your emotions are the seat in which your spirit lies. So if somebody has a bad character, a poor character, then their spirit is heavy, right? Because character isn't something that you can just shake. You know, you see people try to get rid of their character defects. So one day somebody may wake up and be like, you know what? I'm not going to be an asshole today. And what actually happens is they get perceived as an asshole, right? So I remember one day I said, I'm not going to be an asshole today. I woke up and went to work and I said, I'm going to be nice to everybody at work today. And this person came over to me and I was like, hey, love your shirt. And they were like, fuck you, Jimmy. I'm like, dude, so much for being a fucking good person. You know, why am I even a good person? People don't even believe me. They don't even accept these fucking changes. And I just fucking gave up. And I continued to be an asshole. I was an asshole right back to her. And that's my powerlessness. That's a demonstration of my powerlessness. That's a demonstration of how much damage I have done. Like, my character has caused this much damage to the world that they don't even believe me when I commit to change, right? So it's gonna take time. Changing our character, having the world view us differently is going to take time, and it's actually going to take different levels of acceptance. You know, once your character starts to change, people start to look at you differently, treat you differently. Like when I started to lose weight, people were looking at me differently, talking to me differently, and I remember saying to myself, this is fucking weird. Why are people like talking to me like this? Why, like, usually, you know, I'm always making fat jokes and this and that, and people are like just treating me differently. It was very awkward situation. I almost wanted to run away from it and go back to eating shitty and go back to being overweight because I didn't like the new way that people were treating me. And some people get that way. They're like, holy fuck, I'm sober? I can't even believe I'm sober. This is fucking crazy. Why do I even want this? This isn't even that awesome. Like, some people may think, they may believe that getting high is more better than not getting high when they have been sober for fucking 6 months and their whole life has fucking changed. And that is a clear demonstration that there is something wrong with your thinking and what you believe is right and wrong. And in order for you to change that, you gotta reach out. You gotta change your thinking. You gotta fucking change that. You gotta practice steps 1, 2, and 3. Admit that you got a problem. Come to believe that something's going to help you with it. And make the decision to commit you, your time, and yourself to changing that. Okay. So having a heavy spirit. So if you like your character, if you appreciate the way that people perceive your character, and you know, you actually meet the standards of everywhere you go, the people you meet, so on and so forth, then you're gonna have a free spirit. You're gonna feel free, able to go places, talk to people, do things, and it's just gonna feel good and emotionally. So your character, understand that your character is the mental qualities. So So your mental quality is very emotional. So the only thing that gets in the way or can interact with what we believe is right and wrong is our emotions. So our emotions can actually trump our intelligence, and we can actually do things we know is stupid because our emotional state or reaction is so intense that it gets in the way. Or we've avoided it, we don't have it, and we've avoided it for so long that we don't even recognize it. It doesn't even fucking register with us, dude. Now, an emotion is a natural instinctive state of mind deriving from one's circumstances, moods, or relationships with people, objects, and concepts. So somebody's character defects actually would make sense given their reaction or state to these different emotions they've had in their life, right? So the character that somebody has as a result of all the, like Saddam Hussein's son, right? And I apologize if this fucks with anyone's head. Saddam Hussein's son became Saddam Hussein's son because of the circumstances he was in, you know? If Saddam Hussein's son didn't want to be that guy, he would have to one day come to this understanding that his thinking is fucked up and poor quality and his decision making is different. And until then, that's not gonna fucking happen, and he's always gonna be who he's gonna be. So, these natural instinctive states of mind. So, your character would naturally behave that way in every single situation that they're in. You would naturally feel that way. Your character, because of all the things you've done and the way that you've reacted. And that all creates your thinking process, whether it's high quality or low quality, or, you know, what you believe is right and wrong, high quality, low quality. You may think that it's right to yell when you get angry. That's not okay. Some people think it's okay, like Will Smith thinks it's okay to smack someone in the face when they talk shit about them. Go fuck yourself, dude. What kind of... And that's his problem. You see what I'm saying? Like, his character is now ruined because of his inability to control emotions in a certain state of mind, you know? So now his character suffers from that, and he has to go around and do whatever he does because he can't handle a fucking joke. So, now, the compounding of making these choices during these circumstances, that's like a reaction, or if we have enough circumstances over a period of time, that is a state, right? So somebody could react with anger. One instance where me and you are bickering back and forth, and you say something, and I fucking... lash out. That one instance can make you think that I'm an angry person, or I could be angry with you. I could be angry with that person. Y'all get together and say, well, yeah, Jimmy's a cool guy, but he gets angry sometimes. The but is a character defect. It should just be Jimmy's a cool guy. There shouldn't be anything after that. The character defect comes along from the compounding circumstances of me getting angry around people, right? Now, also the state. So some people could just mood. Some people react to embarrassment with anger, with sadness with anger. Some people react to anger with more anger, right? To happiness with anger, or whatever the case may be. When it comes to these character defects, like we're with addiction, somebody could have the character defect of being an addict as a result of constantly being in circumstances where they got too high, where they used too much, where they were doing this, stealing, robbing, staying out late, ODing, hospital visits, DUIs, fired from jobs. All these things compounded, circumstances compound to give this characteristic of this, like is there something wrong? Trying to understand it. The same with the mood. Now, addicts use in response to all fucking moods, dude. So now I have this character defect of not even knowing how to feel moods, and I may respond to that lack of knowledge with anger because it fucking frustrates me because I don't understand it, right? And then people just say, oh yeah, that's that Jimmy guy, but don't try to explain anything to him because if you don't understand, he just gets pissed off. So then people don't actually teach me things. They don't try to walk me through these things, have these discussions with me, and my character suffers as a result of that. No bueno. Okay. And relationships. Okay, so these emotions in this character is determined based upon the emotions and relationships that I have. Like, my character is based on the people that I hang out with, the people I associate with, and the emotional states that brings people to, as well as the emotional state that it brings me to. Also objects, okay? Somebody carrying a gun, right? So for instance, if somebody has a gun, then that's a characteristic. That, like, you possessing a gun, the object of you possessing a gun tells me that you have a certain thought process and moral about what's right and wrong. You know, the same thing with how you hang out with people. So if you're an addict who hangs out with people who are using, you don't fucking gotta tell me what you think is right and wrong. You obviously think it's okay to fucking hang out with people using. And that's your problem. That's not my problem. If I don't believe that you can stay sober from hanging out with people who use, that's your fucking problem, not mine. Because if you use or whatever, that don't affect me. It affects you. So your inability to understand that is your problem. And if you're putting yourself around these things, then your character suffers. And you suffer as a result of it. It can be very confusing and conflicting. And we're like, what the fuck? Why isn't this working? We've made it work for so long that now it's like it always works. That's what our algorithm is right now, you know? Like, if you were always punching in, car accidents into YouTube every single day, 7 to 10 times a day for fucking 10 years at a time, typing in car accidents into YouTube, and one day you decide to type in Against Medical Advice podcast, it's going to keep on suggesting you some, car accidents. It's not going to automatically suggest that you listen to my podcast. The same with natural intelligence. If we're constantly feeding our brain drugs 7 to 10 times a day, then it's going to want drugs 7 to 10 times a day, and it's going to sacrifice morals to fucking get it, even when it's out of our system. And ideas. So the actual, what I believe is right and wrong around ideas, so, can determine someone's character. So we could be hanging out and you fucking thinking that abortion is right or wrong could determine someone's character. Like fucking politics, right? So we could be hanging out and I could say, oh, fucking go Trump, and like somebody could say, they could develop a whole slew of characteristics, and that could maybe be a problem in our relationship because of that, right? Holy shit. I also did not explain plan. So a lot of people's problem in their character and their defects is actually their plan. So they may have an idea of how they're going to be sober, how they're going to do this or that, and it's a fucking shit plan. And the fact that you think that that's a good plan, the right plan, is a demonstration of how bad your thinking is. Holy shit, you see what I'm saying? Like, that's how this works, bro. And when people say, oh, that's a bad plan, usually people respond, well, fuck you. But that's not the right way to respond. The correct way to respond is, well, what's wrong with my plan? Tell me what's wrong with my plan so that I can fix it and don't make any mistakes, because I'm coming to you with my plan because I believe that you know something I don't. I'm not just sharing my plan with anybody. And if I am doing that, then that is a sure way to maybe get a wrong plan, a bad idea that's gonna fuck me up. And if my character, it doesn't work for my character, then I could have a problem, not that person. So, gotta get some good reactions. And how we react and feel these emotions compounded over time creates this character, creates this person that we have become, and the mental or moral qualities distinctive to the individual. Now, we don't need to remove these character defects forever, okay? We just need to remove them today. So if we can start to understand and change these defects just for today, over a period of time, they can change into a new character. you can eventually become a new person. It's not going to happen overnight, but if we make enough decisions and actually begin to adjust our thinking, then we have this new character. But until then, we're gonna be the same, and we need to actually come to the decision that, you know what, I'm going to do this instead of that because that's what's right, you know? So somebody has to, if they want to no longer have the character defect of being overweight, then every day they're gonna have to learn to, first off, know how to fucking lose weight. So they need to mentally know, what do I need to do? What's good with my plan? What's my body? How does my body work? So on and so forth. And how has this affected my character? And you know, that in itself is going to give you a good plan on what to do each day. Maybe eat healthy. So every single meal is an opportunity to make the right choice. And if I make the right choices enough times over meals, eventually over time I can lose weight. And that's the same idea with character defects with drug addiction. My character had become an addict, like Jimmy, this character, Ernest, Jimmy, fucking, you know, whoever character you want, you, has become this person, whether it's addict or whatever. Doesn't even need to be addiction, but I'm using that as an example. I have become an addict as a result of making these choices around drugs and alcohol over so and so period of time. And keep in mind that it only takes 10,000 hours to master something. If you're spending 2 hours a day to master using, that would take 13 years of using. And people usually spend every waking fucking minute thinking and using about ways and means to find more. The getting and using of ways and means to find more. So you're talking about these people who are who are in early recovery from addiction are basically retiring from a serious career of drug usage, and they're now losing an important part of their life, and it's a whole process of grieving. You know, I'm divorcing. It's not even like a healthy breakup most of the time. Usually it's like a divorce. It would feel like I got fired from a job and now I need to like fill up this time. How am I going to fill up this time? I'm super bored, yada, yada, yada. You see this happen with people when they retire. They go stir crazy if they don't have like a hobby or some shit. They start cleaning the house like a madman. In order to change this character defect, it is going to require 1 time, 2 yourself, and 3 effort. So the same, now the effort is actually the same, you're just putting it in a different direction. So the same amount of effort that it takes to be an angry piece of shit is the same amount of effort that it would take to fucking bite your tongue and not say whatever you were gonna say. Now, the problem that comes with changing the character defects is the attitude attached to it. So the attitude is my ability to tell what you're thinking and feeling without you opening your mouth. So it's a lot like body language, right? Now, I'm not, again, asking anybody to get rid of these things forever, you know? We just want to be able to manage them better. So this is about managing character, managing reputation, I guess, and and if you're unable to manage your emotions, then this is going to get all fucked up, just so you know. So if you can't manage your emotions, your feelings, if you can't stop using, then this is a problem. Because, I mean, that's the problem, bro. If you can't stop, then you need some other form of, go to treatment. You know, get a therapist, get something. I don't know what you got to get, but you got to get something. You know, so once you do this and you work on your character defects and your shortcomings, you're then able to make a list of people that you harm, because you're like, oh my God, I can't even believe I've hurt people from being angry. Like, I have hurt people from being overweight. I've missed out on opportunity from being overweight or addicted or whatever. Because I'm angry, I've ruined so many relationships. Because I continue to think I know what I'm doing, I've just been negatively impacting the world in this way. And once you learn that, it's a whole new level of powerlessness. And you're now, and those characteristics are like attached to you. Like, we don't nobody wants to be an angry person, but being angry gets us places, it gets us drugs, so we just take it on and we don't know how to get rid of it after that. And some people don't even believe that not being angry or removing this is actually beneficial. So you could challenge somebody and be like, well, what if you weren't passive? What if you like stood up for yourself and set a boundary, and they're like, oh my God, they won't want to hang out with me anymore. Well, have you ever done that? No, I actually haven't. And it's weird. You know, some people have never actually felt their emotion all the way through, and they reacted to it at a certain time, and that's where their character develops. If they actually let the emotion fully feel or go through, then their character would be a completely different person. But because they can't cope with the anger, they punch a fucking hole in a wall, and now their character has hole puncher attached to it, or whatever the case may be. So, alright, now we have covered a ton of information. If you actually stayed here for the whole video, congratulations. Like, subscribe, follow, comment below, anything you want to see here. But that's an introduction into character defects. I didn't really want to talk specifically about any character defects. I don't really know if I gave too many answers either. I know that one of the answers would be that just for one day at a time, pick a defect and try to not act on it. And in order for you to overcome anger, for instance, be prepared to be in situations that you're going to be angry. So when you challenge these defects of character and you begin to change them, you're going to be in situations where you typically would act that way, and your job is to not act that way. So if you're going to work on your anger, just for today, prepare to be angry. If you're going to work on your humor, prepare to be in an opportunity where you want to make a joke and it's not the time to make a joke, or passive, or whatever it is that you want. Prepare to be in a position to be challenged on that. So character defects are mental and moral qualities distinctive to the individual. I hope you guys enjoyed the video today. This video is brought to you by Attainable Dreams LLC. You can like, follow, subscribe us all over the place. If you want to get in touch with us, you can get in touch with us at attainabledreamllc@gmail.com. If you want to book us, get with me there. Don't get high no matter what. Thanks for being here. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and take care, folks.